in this question here, as you are standing on the floor, the earth pulls down on you with a gravitational force. The reaction to that is, okay, so we are talking about action-reaction forces. That's Newton's third law of motion. Newton's third law of motion says that to every action force, there is a reaction force that is equal to the action but opposite in direction. Now, let me provide more details about that. What Newton's third law of motion tells us is that forces come in pairs. Action and reaction. The term action and reaction is slightly a misnomer because it leads you to think that the action happens and then something has to think about it and react. For example, if my fist hits the wall, then this might imply the wall is going to think a little bit and say, am I going to complain to the wife of this guy? Or am I going to call the police on this guy? Or should I hit him back? That's not the case. Action and reaction happen together at the same time. So they are not really kind of a reaction due to a thought. All forces come in pairs. They come together. Now, the action and reaction, they are always opposite in direction. Meaning, if one of them is to the left, the other would be to the right. If one of them is up, the other one is down. If one is north, the other is south. They are always opposite in direction. That's one thing to remember about them. The other thing to remember, they are always equal in amount, irrelevant of the size of the objects involved and what happens to the objects. So, for example, two cars colliding are going to experience the same force, irrelevant of what happens to the cars, irrelevant of the size of the cars. A bug colliding with a car is going to experience the same force as the car, irrelevant of what's going to happen to the bug or the size of the bug or what's going to happen to the car or the size of the car. They are always equal to each other in amount. Now, the third thing to remember is the action and reaction, they always involve the same two objects. Okay, what does it mean to say they involve the same two objects? Forces are always between two entities, two objects. Like my fist hitting the wall, the two objects, fist and wall. Like in here, earth and you. These are the two objects, the earth and you. Now, both the action and reaction involve the same two objects and only these two objects, with nothing else. They should involve the same two objects and nothing else. That's important. Okay, now in this case, so we have the earth pulls down on you. So the reaction should be up. So we should look for the answers that are going to involve something up. So that takes away the second answer because it's speaking of a down force. So we have pull up and push up. So these are the possible answers. Now, this one, an upward pull that you, one of the objects here, you exert on the earth. That's the third requirement for the action and reaction. So this is correct. Now, while here, the floor is pushing up on your shoes, suddenly we have an extra object coming into play here. That's not you, that's not the earth, that's your shoes. So that's a third object. So this cannot be the answer. The correct answer is an upward pull that you exert on the earth.